Hey everybody! So we're gonna keep talking about the houses. We're gonna talk about the sixth house. Here's the card. Can you see it okay? And the sixth house is another house that has an affinity with earth sign energy, an affinity with Virgo energy specifically. This is the house. This house, I've seen it before in like different forums. It kind of gets ragged on as being like a boring place. I disagree with that. I mean, it's where we spend a lot of our time. This is like the house of routine, mundane, daily life. So it's, even though it might not be as like, I don't know, interesting as say like, I don't know, the 12th house. I think the 12th is pretty interesting. It's extremely important because it encompasses how we live daily life, right? How we function in daily life, what we need to function in daily life, all of those kind of things. And that kind of stuff is shown by the ruler of the sixth house cusp, and any planets that fall in the sixth house. So another thing, this house deals a lot with routine. The way we need a routine, the way that we don't need a routine, how we need to have a routine, how we need to go about a routine. Some people need a much more, sorry, my eye is watering. That little heater next to me is blowing something out. Some people need, depending on what sign rules the house cusp, some people might need more of a structured routine than others. For instance, if you had, say, Taurus ruling the sixth house cusp, or Virgo, you might be looking at somebody that needs a decent amount of routine in their daily life. Somebody that has, say, Aquarius ruling the sixth house cusp, or Sagittarius ruling the sixth house cusp may not need quite as much routine, or they might not be as good at it, or as comfortable with it. So it really does depend on what sign rules the house cusp. And just to be clear that this is not universal. You'll hear me say this throughout so many of my videos. It's not universal. None of this is. These are just different ways that you could play with the synthesis of this. But you'd want to, of course, look at the whole chart. So also, another thing, service to others. How we serve. How we can be of service. How we feel most comfortable being of service. It's another thing that falls under the territory, under the domain of this house. Health is a big one too. Physical health, I do feel like mental health is here though as well. Mental health can also be a 12th house thing on the opposite of the axis. But I feel like here, it's both mental and physical health. It's just the health of the entire person in the physical world, because this is a very physical house, physical world, physically rooted house. So yeah, things of that nature could be found here. Different, and then the planets that fall in this house could show perhaps things regarding your health, like and what energy needs to be expressed in regards to that. Like, okay, say somebody with Neptune in the sixth. Okay, in terms of health, you might be looking at somebody who, and again, this is not universal, but you might be looking at somebody who perhaps has health issues that are hard to diagnose or hard to understand due to the sort of murky nature of Neptune. It could also show somebody who perhaps doesn't want to deal with health issues, maybe. Or if talking about daily life, you could interchange that with that. You know, perhaps routines are harder for them. But then, of course, it would also depend on what sign Neptune falls in, all of that. Somebody with, say, Mars in the sixth house, perhaps they are very driven to take care of their health. They're very proactive when it comes to that. Again, those are just examples of possibilities. Another thing this house represents, okay, so people ask a lot about work and career. Now, this isn't necessarily career. This house isn't. That's a 10th house thing. But this is work. The work that you do. The work that you would be best suited to do in daily life. What sort of work? So, and kind of like the way that you function with coworkers, the way that you function in the office, what kind of office environment you need to be in, what kind of stuff you should work around, what kind of, just kind of how you need to work, how you work best, and what you kind of work best doing. And then you know, the ruler of the sixth house cusp, the planetary ruler of the sixth house cusp, wherever that falls in the chart, would give you an idea of what house the sixth house bends to. So I don't know. Let's say somebody's got the ruler of their sixth house. It falls in their ninth. Perhaps their work, the way they work, it needs to be with foreign cultures, working with foreign cultures, working in other countries, working around people from a lot of diverse backgrounds, cultural backgrounds. The work they do is perhaps philosophical in nature, things like that. But of course, it depends as well what planetary ruler we're talking about, all of that. But those are definitely things to take into consideration. And when you're looking for what kind of work somebody should do or what kind of work that you should do, this is definitely one of the houses that you want to look at, to give you an idea of what would best fit for you or for the person whose chart you're reading. Okay, so this house also deals with small animals like household pets, and other, I would think of, like, I don't know, just small animals. I'm not sure if they necessarily have to be household pets. They could be like little woodland creatures, but maybe, but just small animals. And also another big one is another big thing this house represents is unequal relationships. I think that probably has a little bit. I know a lot of people don't believe in natural rulers for the houses, but like I've said before, there is an affinity for Virgo energy, with whether or not you believe in natural rulers or not. There is an affinity for Virgo energy with the sixth house. It exists. I don't know what to tell you. You don't have to believe that it's a natural ruler, but it exists. So, I mean, not the affinity exists. It just does. So Virgo, is kind of like thought of as one of the ways that Virgo energy is thought of as like the servant, which kind of, but it is, because Virgo serves. And when somebody's serving, right, there is an unequalness, because the person is being served isn't doing the serving. So I think that's probably where the unequal relationship part of this house comes in, or where it can come in a little bit. I've been asked that before. Where do those come in? Where does the unequal relationship thing come in here? And I think it has to do with that. I'm gonna see if I missed anything else. I think that's about. I think that's good. I think that's pretty good here. Oh, and I'm already at like 10 minutes, so I'm gonna stop. But okay. Well, thank you all for watching. If you don't already, subscribe to our Instagram at Let's Fuck with Astrology, and our subreddit, which is also r/Let's Fuck with Astrology. I am Saturn Season Astrology on Instagram, and Natalie is at Eternal Astrology on Instagram. And wherever you watch this, you're probably like, I'm watching this on IG. Why are you giving me your IG? Because some people see them on YouTube. So also, if you don't already, our YouTube channel is Let's Fuck with Astrology. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you all around.